First things first, let's touch on the mapping in this case. All right. Can you key in your keyboard? Split the 4 views first, so easier to do things. Now, can you key in your keyboard M? M stands for material editor. This part, do you see this happening or not? Here. Okay. Okay, or you can click on this button here, this one here. All right. Let me amplify the screen so that you can see this. It's this button here, all right? This one, material editor. If you are an icon clicker, this part. Okay, you will see this. You will see the slate material editor. All right. This one is a more advanced way of preparing the materials and all. But because of this, it also gets pretty complicated as well because it's very procedural. So again, because you are starting out, let's not kill ourselves until it's really necessary to show you this. So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to click on Modes, top left-hand corner here. Click on Modes drop-down list and change this one to Compact Material Editor. This one. Then it becomes a little bit more digestible for you. Clear? Okay, Ken? Do you need me to repeat this? Yeah, of course you do. Now, you look at this, it's complicated and everything, so we don't want to pick up this mode first, all right? We are going to change from this mode, top left-hand corner, from Slate Material Editor to Compact Material Editor. This one here. I don't know whether you see 6 or you see 15 or you see 24. Which one do you see, by the way? You see 6 by default, right? Press X, then it becomes 15. Then you press X again, then it becomes 24. I repeat, just press X. Then you can toggle the amount of material slots you have. If you click on X, it doesn't happen for you, right? Don't worry, your interface, I don't know what happened, but go to options, go to this button here called cycle 3x2, 5x3, 6x4 sample slots. It works the same as well. Can you try this? Then can happen or not? This one definitely will work, all right. This is what I want you guys to do for now first, okay? How to map things. Can you don't go to the first one, go to the second one here. Give it a logical name, call it orange, let's say. Change the name, call it orange. You can change the name here. All materials must be unique to a certain degree, okay? So we are going to give it a name first for now. Let's call it orange. Yeah, orange. Second one, don't give the first one. Second slot here, this guy. Okay, just call it orange for now. And then I'm going to run through with you how to prepare certain things. Now it is very difficult to see the material sample at such a small rate, isn't it? Super small, super hard to see. So what you can do is you can double click on the material itself and it will give you a slightly bigger preview here, which you can move around and all. But my suggestion is do not drag this one too big. Don't drag it like as if nothing happens. Don't do that. it's very, very resource intensive to pull out this sample. Right now you got nothing, so it's nothing, it's easy. But when you move on to an advanced rendering engine, you pull like that and will hang if not crash your program. So my recommendation is try not to go beyond the size of one viewport that you have. As a rule of thumb. If you need to see a bigger one, slightly bigger is good enough. Not ultra super big. Go easy on this. It happens, you wait a couple of minutes, then the program crashes because of that. All right, be careful. Okay, by default, they will give you a spherical display sample. You can change that spherical display sample by holding the left button here where my mouse is. Please pay attention to this part. I can't quite, multiple toggle wouldn't quite work properly. Okay, you can change this one to cylindrical and you can change this one to cubic way of display. All right, you can change this one. So you can toggle this, this, and this. Okay, this way. Sometimes spherical not very applicable to what we want to do, because a lot of things that we are doing right now is largely rectilinear, except for the cylindrical columns, let's say for the studio. Everything else is largely rectilinear. Can? Okay. Now, many a times also, it is by default showing you against a gray background. You can toggle that one by changing it, okay? If you click on this button here called background, then you see a very, colorful background situation. This one is particularly important if you are dealing with materials like, let's say, glass, translucent material, transparent materials, because that will allow you to see through things and then you see the refractive quality of the background. Okay, so learn how to toggle this portion here. All right, so I'm going to move down. Okay, if you now look at this part here, let's minimize everything again as usual. Don't want to frighten you with user options here. Can everybody learn to collapse the headers first? Everyone must do so. Collapse the headers first. There's like a 1,000 settings inside which you can do, is infinite. So don't want to confuse you. Okay. Now, very, very simply, let's just do the easiest thing for now. Open up the shader basic parameters, the very first header here. All right. This one tells you what are the options and all. So if you click on wire, guess what? Whatever material you set up, but when you render, it becomes a wireframe. Okay, let's try this. Let's have some fun with it and take a look. I want you to, let's say, select the teapot. Okay, how to map this? Mapping. Okay, you must select an object first inside the scene. I'm going to close this. Select an object inside the scene. Do you see this spray can where my mouse is? This spray can called assign material to selection. You see it there? Okay, click on that. After you have selected the object, you click on that. Okay, when you're done, right, do a test render. Go to render and rendering and render. What do you now see? Do you see the teapot becoming a wireframe or not? Got this happening here? If don't have, I repeat. Never mind, I'll repeat. You follow, all right? One more time. Have you selected the material or not? Number one. Did you go to the shader basic parameters and check this thing called wire or not? Check it. Check it. Then apply that material. Then render it. Do it. Do you see it happening now? This is one quick method or technique if you want to show meshes. I just repeat, I thought I better give you a scenario in which you can apply in real life. Sometimes you need netting, correct or not? You need to do netting and all. So very quick way to do this is simply just to change this one to a wire and render it. Next things first. Okay, I want you to change out this one. Take out the wire selection, this one. Okay, disable this. Remember, just now I made you guys do this or not? Hey, under the setting, there is a force two-sided button there. We make you check that option, correct or not? There's a force two-sided. If you have this option checked in your material setting, then you don't need to worry. Whether or not you have force two-sided, it will render two-sided anyway. And if you don't have this check and you didn't check the force two-sided, the material disappears. All right? So that's what it means. Next, cultivate this habit. Once you're done with let's say the blend setting, I want you to minimize the header because you are a new user, so you don't understand a lot of things. Then you open up, you expand the blend basic parameters so that we can explain to you what these things do. All right. Actually, it depends on the scenario. I think it's a good question raised by Ian here. Hey, do I use the two-sided or do I not use the two-sided? I would think my answer to you is if you are in year 2, at the moment, if you are in year 2, the answer will be yes, you use two-sided. But when you are in year 3 already, then my answer to you is it's either maybe not or no. All right, because the material settings becomes more complicated. One material texture could be different from the other one on the other side. Okay, so that's why the answer to you is maybe not. Okay. Next, we are going to touch on blend basic parameters here. All right. Can you click on ambient? This part, ambient. When you click on ambient, this part here, do you see where my mouse is or not? It's gray color at the moment, right? Can you click on ambient at the moment? Click on that. The color selector dialog box appears. Do you need me to repeat this one more time? Very good. Here is where you select the range of colors available to you. You can click and choose the color, or you can use color codes here. You can use hue set values or RGBs down here if you want to be very precise with it. Okay. Now we wanted orange. So where do we get orange? Roughly, orange is roughly here, right? Roughly here. Then click OK. Notice when I finish selecting the color, the sample box turns color also. And notice here also, by the way, when I render this, the color of the teapot changes as well to orange. Next scenario being, you keep doing this until all your 24 slots got burned out already. You are done. Oh dear, no more slots. Then what do I do? Oh dear. How? Now I'm showing you the next method, how to free up your material slots. Okay, please take note so that you will remember. Okay, now after this is done, and imagine all your 24 slots all taken up already. All right, that's the scenario. When you run out of your slots ready, then how to manage? You can't keep adding on materials because you got no more slots. Oh dear, then how? Okay, you simply select the one that you want to deal with. Okay, you can do this. You see this little trash can here or not? Let me amplify the screen so you can see better. Okay, you must make sure you select the correct slot. Do you see this little button here called this trash can icon here or not? Called reset map / material. Reset map / material to default setting. This one. Click on that, and then the prompt will come on. Read the angmo, okay? Read it. Now, the map the material slash map is used in the scene? Do you want to read it? Read it, then you answer me. Do you want to, first of all, affect the material map in both the scene and in the editor slot? Or you want to affect only the material map in the editor slot? Which one would you choose? Why? Why? Come on, this is common sense. If I whack away the one on top, right, I use the one, all will be whacked away. You understand me or not? Of course, I'm going to use the second one. The second one does what? It just whacks away your editor slot. So try, do this, click, and guess what? Hey, oh dear, I lost the material setting already. You know why? Because it got reset away. Before we do so, before I move on, I want you to do this. After you are done with it already, correct or not? I want you to render again. Now, I want you to make sure, hey, look, is that material still available on the teapot or not? When after you do a render. Still there or not? Yes, very good. If it's there, then excellent. Someone raised a very important question, John. You know, I deleted the material setting at the slot away. But now I regret because I thought I'm happy with orange, but no. Actually now, lecturers say it must be purple after I consult, then how? But there are 10,000 settings I've done to that material already. So, oh dear. Does that mean I have to reset everything again or not? The answer is no. How do we now do this? Okay. I want you to click on any available slot, like the one on the lower left-hand corner. Can you do that or not? What I'm trying to show you is how to extract, how to get the material setting back again, even though you have deleted the material slot. You understand me? This part, all right? So I want you to select any other empty slot here, like what I did, the lower left-hand corner one. Once you do that, right, do you see this little eyedropper icon here or not? Pick material from object, here, where my mouse is. Okay, do you see that? You see that or not? Okay, here's what I want you to do. Click on that icon, that eyedropper, and aim for the teapot. Go for that teapot. Guess what? This one is a very common new user problem or new user question that we encounter when it comes to mapping. You must know how to tackle this. It's a requirement. So please try. Must make sure you can get it first. Let's discuss this for a little while. Actually now, right, technically speaking, technically speaking, now that you know this technique, how to erase the material from the slot, and after you apply the material, and how to pick up that material back again when you need to make further changes to it. Let's think about this. Do you actually, in reality, need so many material slots or not? I tell you, if you know this technique, you only need one to do the job. Correct or not? I can only work one at a time. All right, Ken? So let's go back to the learning aspects of things. You have already, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, picked up how to reset a material slot, how to pick up the material after you have applied to make further changes, okay? You have also, guys, you have also learned how to edit the first part of the material, which is the color aspects. All right, so it's here. Okay. Now, if you look at it, can you select the ball now, the sphere, and then you apply that same material onto the sphere also or not? This part here. Okay, this one here. Okay, can you make the other one shaded also? The one on the lower one shaded, and then make it 3D like that. Okay, do a test render. Make sure you can do this already. Okay. Now, next thing I want to share with you is how to control the opacity of a material. You can make things semi-transparent, translucent, okay, or very, very transparent by controlling the aspect here, the opacity area here. Now, at the moment, opacity is 100. If you change opacity to, let's say, 25, for example, and then you do another render, you will find that the material itself becomes it can become quite transparent, okay? Here. The specular is to illustrate the highlight of a color. This part changes basically the opacity of the color. Okay, 100 means totally opaque. Okay, anything lower than 50 means it's transparent and so on. You need this to deal with the glass material later on, all right? So this part, don't worry about this for now. Okay, can you guys drag the, can you look at my screen, can I get you guys to follow what I do now? Simply, right, you see ambient and diffuse, the color is the same. Can you drag the color down for this one or not? It's white color at the moment in your screen. So can you drag diffuse to specular, same color? Just drag it down, no big deal, this part. Can? Okay. It's extremely hard for me to explain this part because you will not understand until I show you physically. Okay, how this is done. At the moment, nothing will happen. Your attention back on screen. At the moment, nothing will happen on the specular level because the specular level, although the color has been changed, is set to 0. So don't set it to 0, set it to 100, for example. Do you now see that there is a highlight happening? If you set to 0, look at this. The material is down, no matter what you do. Okay, but if you set the specular level to 100, for example, then it gets a lot highlighted. Correct or not? If you set the gloss to 0, for example, you will find that the highlight is very distributed. But if you set the glossiness to very high, then it becomes like a billiard cue ball or snooker cue ball, where the highlight concentration point is very, very concentrated. Okay, try putting in 0, see what happens. Okay, if I put this one to 0, look at the highlight. There's no highlight. The whole thing gets, blows out that way. But if I if I up the values for glossiness, do you see that the highlight gets closer and closer and closer or not? More concentrated or not? That way, do you see this? Okay, to 0 to, let's say, 50. If I increase the value, for those of you who played snooker before, you see the yellow ball becomes, it looks very much like a cue ball, isn't it? Because the highlight point, because it's glossy, all right? If you drop the glossy level to 0, that means it's not very, very glossy, not very shiny kind of thing. That one. But then again, guys, glossiness is not reflection, okay? It's not reflectivity. We'll cover that later on. Okay? Let's see if we make this one 80, what happens to our little experiment here, okay? So let's render it again, then you see what happens. Re-render it again, and then you see what happens here. Do you see the cue balls effect happening or not? Go to the next material slot. Under standard, right? Let's move on down. Okay, can you expand the next thing called maps? This part here called maps. There's so much to cover. So expand maps. A little bit of theoretical explanation that is relevant to you. Now, do you see down here you have this slot called diffuse color? Do you see this one? Okay. Do you see down here by default it says no map? Now, let me explain to you. Diffuse color
means it is the look or the outward appearance of a material. For example, the grain of timber or the look of a painting, etc.
The next thing you want to pay attention is the bump. Bump. B-U-M-P, yeah? Now, do you see
The bump map deals with the superficial unevenness of a texture. It is mostly used to simulate the roughness of a material surface.
Do you see this part here called reflection? We are very, very careful with our vocabulary when it comes to 3D mapping. This part here, 3D modeling and mapping. We're very, very careful. I use the word reflection. Reflection. So how does this apply?
Reflection controls how reflective a material is. It is the surface smoothness or perfection of a material. It is almost the opposite of bump in this case.
We use the word very, very carefully because in reflection, right below it is refraction. Okay, only a few characters different. What is refraction?
Refraction controls how light bends when it passes through a transparent or translucent material. On the parent materials maps rollout, we adjust the amount to control how refractive the material is. At a refraction amount of 100%, the material is extremely refractive, regardless of the material's opacity setting. At a refractive amount of 0%, the map is turned off. When the amount is less than 100%, both refract map and the opacity setting controls transparency.
Then I hope to be able to, by the end of today, push this part called displacement. Okay, I'll show you if you are interested in that. We use this portion called self-illumination as well. What is self-illumination?
Self-illumination creates the illusion of incandescence by replacing shadows on the surface with the diffuse color. As you increase self-illumination, the self-illumination color takes over from the ambient color. At the setting of 100, the material shows no shaded areas, although it can show specular highlights.
Opacity is that something in which you may come across later on and all. This one.
Very often we need to create what we call screens in this case. If you look at this particular material here, now you will see a lot of holes, almost the pattern forming holes in the particular material here. These are not actually a 3D model, but these are what we call a material screen. Alright, this is controlled by using what we call the alpha channel material, in which is controlled by opacity. Alright, we're going to cover this one later on.
Okay, let's go on next. First things first, let's deal with material maps. To see the graphic of things. Okay, so let's start with the graphics. Now, have you expanded this one? A new slot, right? This one, we call it floor, isn't it? This one. Okay, we call this one floor. So I want you to check the button here for diffuse. You see this? I activated this. Only when you check this, the item gets activated. The maps get activated. Okay? Then you click on, it's no map. No map means no data, no nothing, right? So we want to give it some data. We click on this button here on no map. Okay? I repeat, in case you can't see the full screen. Click on no map, this one. And you will see an an extensive array of the different types of materials that can happen inside for 3D Studio Max. We use a lot of the first item here called bitmap. Bitmap, you can relate that to pictures, any image map, JPEGs, BMPs, TIFF files, TAGA files, etc. Okay, or your PNGs. These days you use a lot of PNGs. This one. So click on this button here called bitmap. Double click on that. Then it will prompt you to fish out an image first. Before you do that, guys, I want you to go to your Chrome browser here, right? Just download an image, any image at all. Just do a search word called interior, right? And then I want you to download this. Download any interior image first for now. Anyone. Then I want you to choose that interior image. Do you now see what I see? To make sure you understand the concept first. Again, minimize everything. You see, once you click on the box here, you find that you no longer see the standard word there, but you now see a bitmap word there, correct or not? This is the very, very confusing bit of 3D Studio Max user interface. Okay, now when you click on this, you see this. Then you go and load an image, right? I asked you to go load an image, then you end up seeing this at the end of the day. Okay, this part here, let me spend some time. Now, you see this guy turning just now from standard to now bitmap, correct or not? Just now it was standard, the button. Okay, this is because you have gone one level below the standard to tweak. So in order to do this, you need to get back up to the top level by clicking on this button here called Go to Parent. You must do that. If not, you cannot get out already. You find that you're stuck in that user interface. Okay, click on this button called Go to Parent here. Then you now find that you now see this happening. You see this. The rest all no map, right? And right now you see this one, interior.jpg file. Can Next. Now let's go back inside here. Then we can tweak a lot of things again down here. All right. Primarily, you see the coordinates and everything here. Now, can I just have a show of hands roughly here before we go? Do you see this button here called Use Real World Scale? Anyone has this one checked already or not? Checked. If I'm confusing you, I'll zoom in and see. Do you see this button here? Use Real World Scale. By default, we don't want you to use this. Don't use this. Okay. Now, when you deal with mapping, you are dealing with scales, dimensions of the materials all the time. And because they have this option called Use Real World Scale, it confuses many of the new users all the time, particularly our students. So here's what I want you guys to do in case. Okay, everyone do this. Go to Customize. Go to Preference. The last one. We don't want to confuse you. We rather teach you one method first for this part. Inside General tab, inside the lower right hand corner portion here, Texture Coordinates, I want you to make sure you uncheck this one called Use Real World Texture Coordinates. Uncheck it. Don't check that one. Messes your life up. Don't do that for now. Clear? Very good. Then click OK. Do you now see in your preview, you have a picture of what you downloaded here as a preview? Do you see this or you see this? When you start seeing this, it's because you have, the picture is inside, but it's super small. It's inside that one little small little cube there. Because you use real world texture coordinates. When you do this, it regards this number size as 1 mm or one small little unit. That's why it became so small. If you do not check this, it regards this as tiling. That means it's 1 on 1. That's why you see it big. That's how it works. Okay. Now let's go back out now. You see the floor here or not? I want you to use a spray can and spray it on the floor, basically. This one. Okay. I click this. So it's mapped already. Assign this to the floor. Assign this material to the floor. This one. Must go to parent first, then assign. If not, you mess things up. Must go back to the top level where we can see maps here. Then you assign, okay? This part. Okay, if you look at it, really nothing happens, right? No difference. Like I never do anything to it. Why? Okay. You can activate this one function to see the immediate effect. All right. This immediate function here is called show shaded material in viewport, where my mouse is right now. And you activate that button. Make sure you click on the material that you have just made change to, then you activate it. Got effect or not? You should see the effect because yes or no is immediate. This mode of display is particularly important to new users because you need to immediately see the effect of the mapping to know whether you have done it correctly already or not. This part. Okay, Ken, done ready? Nice. Do you still remember how to isolate things or not? I want you to isolate that floor plate now. Right click on it and go to isolate selection, like that. Here's what I want you to see. Because I need to move on to another topic now, which is important. Can you, in your lower right hand corner view, okay, orbit the view, hold the alternate key and middle mouse button, okay, and turn it into shaded mode until you see something like what I see on my screen, like that. Can you do that now? You need to understand this part before I can put you on a break situation.